This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Thanks, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
We always do the same thing. Hello. And I always do it. Hi.
Yeah, and then I do something. I'm not sure what, but anyway. So we're here.
I know. Wait, this is Patreon, right?
No, this is
our
regular.
episode. Oh, okay. Hello, guys. What's up?
Hi, weekly.
I know. When I'm on Patreon, I try to focus on the video a little bit more. But no, we're on our podcast. Okay, let me focus on our audio.
Anyway.
All right, guys. So welcome back to another episode of Funny Medicine.
Yes, welcome back. And if you guys are watching us, me, finally took the freaking minute to find out what's going on with our camera, which is my phone, and try to take off the reactions and whatever, so that now we actually have a more professional looking video.
It only took us 1 year to get here.
Yeah.
Gosh, Julie.
By us, it's me. I know.
Julie, what are you doing with all your time?
No,
Just sitting around.
Yeah, just not much.
Doing nothing.
Not much. Yeah.
Totally kidding. Okay.
Anyways, so that's an explanation to that. But what are we talking about today?
All right. So we're talking about something. This was my request.
Yes, and it makes sense because the Olympics.
Yeah.
Trending.
Oh, yeah.
She was there.
I thought she was there. Okay. We're talking about Celine Dion, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Hold on. Backtrack. We're not talking about Celine Dion.
Right.
We're talking about stiff person syndrome, but everyone famously knows this because, unfortunately, Celine Dion was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, and she recently came out with a documentary, kind of her life with it and how it's affected her singing, her career, her personal life.
Yeah.
And now, everyone was so excited because she came to sing for the opening ceremony for the Olympics. And I watched the documentary, and then seeing her at the Olympics, I got teary-eyed.
Yeah.
I almost cried.
Yeah.
She's just an amazing person. So
I know. And it's something that is not very well known.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not common. It's a rare neurodegenerative disorder. But we've talked about more common ones here on our podcast. But this one was interesting. I think a little different, maybe, since a lot of people out there think about Celine Dion or maybe came to know or to find out about this rare disease through her.
Yeah.
Then maybe we thought that we'd just cover it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, I learned about it as I was doing the research for it, and you were telling me about the documentary and all that. Since it's kind of like on everybody's mind, we're like, let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah.
So what is it?
All right. So stiff person syndrome.
Oh, before that, for those of you that are watching us, we are just cheering with fancy glasses and the whole thing because you guys are awesome, especially on YouTube. We saw our numbers recently. Thank you. Cheers to you guys. Yes. And thank you to the new Patreon members. We have Isabel G.
and Lawrence A.
Yep. Thank
you
guys
so much for being Patreon members. We really appreciate it. And I hope everyone else maybe checks out our Patreon.
Absolutely. Anyways, all right. So back to it.
All right. So back to stiff person syndrome. Stiff person syndrome. It's rare. It's complex. It's a disorder that affects the central nervous system. It's characterized by severe muscle stiffness and painful spasms. Here's kind of a little bit of a breakdown of what you need to know about the condition. Stiff person syndrome is a neurological disorder that causes muscles in the torso and limbs to become stiff and rigid. The stiffness can be so severe that it affects a person's ability to move and perform their everyday activities. So the condition is progressive, meaning it tends to worsen over time. And we're going to jump a little bit into the symptoms of what you can expect when a person has stiff person syndrome. So one, they can experience muscle stiffness. I think this is the one that everyone usually thinks about, obviously in the name.
Right.
But it typically starts in the trunk or in the torso, and then it can kind of spread axially, so to the limbs. And then the stiffness can make it really difficult to move and can even lead to postural changes and even changes in your gait, right? In the way that you walk. Because of the muscle stiffness and the spasms, they can have really painful spasms. So that's another symptom or sign. So these spasms can be triggered by various stimuli. Stimuli just means triggers, right?
External triggers.
Exactly. So this could be loud noises, physical touch, emotional stress. The spasms are pretty intense and can cause the person to even fall and have accidents. So talking about sensitivity to triggers, you can have sensitivity to stimuli. So people with stiff person syndrome, I'm just going to shorten and say SPS, are often highly sensitive to loud noises. With Celine Dion, she was under so much stress all the time. I mean, I grew up looking at her concerts and everything, but I didn't really understand like the stress behind a performance or how
Concerts,
exactly
all those things,
all of that,
like interviews,
So,
whatever you name it.
I can't imagine her husband had cancer as well, so she had a lot of things going on. I think family problems too, which she was saying in the documentary. She probably had a lot of sensitivity to stimuli and also like loud noises. I mean,
all the time.
Singer,
So even now in the Olympics, having already been diagnosed with this, and then being exposed to the Olympics and performing in the Olympics, I can only imagine. There's lights, loud sounds, people.
I know.
So many people. All the attention that you need to give everyone that's producing everything around you. Oh my God.
I know.
It's just like, it's stressful for somebody, that doesn't even have it.
So many triggers there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the triggers there for her. And, you can also, kind of what I've already kind of briefly touched on, you can have an abnormal gait as well. So it progresses so much, your muscles stiffen so much that it can affect the way that you walk.
Which you can kind of tell with her sometimes, like more than others,
Yes, you can. And she has a therapist too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like he's a physician, but honestly, I'm not sure if he's a physician now. But anyways, she has her go-to clinician, and he goes and he stretches her out, and she has a crisis during her documentary. And there's even a
heard
clip.
about that. I should have seen it, but I haven't.
She has an interview with someone. Someone interviews her. I can't remember who it was, but her camera lady was there. And they get the opinion of her camera lady seeing her live crisis, because she ended up having almost like a convulsion. They interview her camera woman next to her.
Oh my God.
And her camera woman was shocked.
Her
camera woman was saying, I had no idea how if you were even going to survive that.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine. Can you imagine the person taping that? What do you do? Do you stop taping? Do you continue taping?
Yeah.
Do you, obviously she was surrounded by her clinician.
Yeah.
And his help and all of that. And they were able to kind of stabilize her. They called EMS and everything. But I mean, imagine the person being behind the camera.
Oh my God. No, I can't even. And it's just like, it's gonna look so scary too. It has does it look like a seizure type of thing?
It does look like a seizure.
Okay.
It's just a little bit different. The seizure is a little bit different because she's kind of aware of what's going on.
Oh man. Which makes it even so much more scary.
It was really scary. Yeah.
Because
Usually
then you have no control over what's happening. Oh,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
That sounds awful.
Because with seizures, you're not supposed to be aware of what's happening, right? So usually people come out of a seizure and they're kind of like,
like what
lost.
happened? Yeah.
And it kind of seems like she knows like what's going on and she's in pain, right?
Oh God. Okay.
But yeah, very sad.
So what causes this that we've been talking about? SPS, like its exact cause is not fully understood, but it's believed to be an autoimmune disorder. This means that the body's immune system mistakenly attacks its own tissues, like most autoimmune disorders. In the case of SPS, the immune system targets a protein called glutamic acid decarboxylase, or GAD, which is involved in the production of a neurotransmitter called gamma aminobutyric acid GABA. And then this neurotransmitter in the brain and everywhere else in your body helps regulate muscle movement, and a deficiency of it can lead to the symptoms that you see of SPS.
Yeah. So you're going to have like your brain be completely like overstimulated, right? And it's going to shoot out all these responses through your nerves, then from the nerves to your muscles, and then your muscles are going to contract. But naturally, what our bodies have are inhibitory systems, right? So that's where GABA comes in. So if you don't have that neurotransmitter GABA to kind of put the brakes
To like regulate.
that, then you're just going to keep going, and you're going to just keep
That
on
makes
contracting and spasming.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so who's affected by SPS? So as she had said earlier, it's very, very rare. So it affects about 1 in 1 million people. It is more common in women than in men and typically develops between the ages of 30 to 60. Many people with SPS also have other autoimmune diseases such as type 1 diabetes or thyroiditis. So it's an inflammation of your thyroid gland. And so what's the diagnosis?
Okay, diagnosing stiff person syndrome can be pretty tough, right? It's so rare. And obviously, if someone were to present with these kind of symptoms, we'd be doing a lot of workups to make sure it's not something emergent. So it can be pretty challenging because at the end of the day, the symptoms are really similar to other conditions. Like on our podcast before, we talked about Parkinson's, right?
Yes.
Which is it affects their gait and affects the way that they're thinking and their movements and all of that.
Right. So there's like overlapping similarities.
Yeah, there's
to other
overlapping
things,
similarities. You can also have MS, right? So multiple
Right.
sclerosis. I don't think we've covered multiple sclerosis
have not
on
yet.
our podcast just yet. But again, a lot of overlapping symptoms, right? It's all these neurodegenerative type of symptoms. So the way that doctors usually diagnose SPS is based on your H&P, right? So your history and physical.
Yeah.
So your medical history and your physical exam, right? But you need to be extremely detailed in your questions that you're asking. And this could take a really long time.
I can imagine.
It's almost the way that I can describe it is if you have a memory and you tell it for the first time, and then the second time that you tell the story, you fill in the blanks that maybe you didn't fill in the first time.
Okay.
So it's like the more you talk about your history,
Yeah.
the more things you remember, the more things that come
Right.
up. So it's not like someone can just go to the neurologist
And be like,
in this
"This is
case,
it." Yeah.
right? And say, these are my symptoms, right? It takes a long, in my opinion, I think it takes a long time, right? And it's so complex,
Yeah.
right? The symptoms are, and sometimes you don't even know what's going on,
Right.
right? So then sometimes the doctor has to ask, well, are you feeling this? Does it feel like this?
Right.
And then you kind of start like narrowing it down to like what you're, and sometimes that can take a really long
Of
time.
course.
It's not going to be like in a 30-minute visit, which is sadly what some doctors have,
Yeah.
right?
If you're lucky, 30 minutes.
If you're
yeah.
lucky. Yeah.
Right,
And not by choice.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Most doctors want more time with
Exactly.
their patients,
Yeah.
right? But we're so constrained because of the crazy volume that we see.
And that's like a whole other tangent that we will do another episode on.
Yeah.
But that's like about
A
medicine.
lot of other things.
Medicine in the US and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah.
So medical, and I always, when I was a medical student, I had a physician, an attending of ours, that taught us how, he was our preceptor and he gave us a lot of advice. And he told me, he's like, you can get 90% of your differential. So your differential is kind of the list of top things that you think that it might be.
Okay.
He's like, you can develop a differential and be like 90%, like really narrowed down to your diagnosis just through a history and physical.
Wow.
Without tests, without management, without anything. Because if you get a really good history, it's going to lead you down the right path, right?
Yeah. That's how
It's going to
important.
narrow things down.
So that's how important it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. To document all that. Okay.
So they also diagnose this, or they try to diagnose this. So history, physical, they also do blood tests, right? Because you want to eliminate other things, right? So you have this differential, what I just talked about, that top list of things that you think it might be. And then you start doing your evaluations and your labs and imaging and stuff like that to kind of start like crossing out things off of your list, right? To like kind of narrow you down to what you think it might be. And you can also do EMGs. So because this is so heavily involving the muscular system, then you want to do EMGs, which is kind of like measuring the electricity like in your muscles, right?
Got it.
So, oh wow, okay, test that measures electrical. Okay, cool. All right. Well, and I still know what I'm talking about. All right, so yeah, so just cut off.
No, I mean that's better. It's better that you're like just saying it out of memory.
I'm just like,
It's better like that.
all right. Because SPS is still so rare, And yes, we think that this is autoimmune mediated. It's really not well defined.
Right.
And it's very, a lot of therapies are involved. Maybe some immunomodulators are involved. And we'll talk about that now, what all that means. So there's currently no cure for SPS right now, but there's various treatments that can kind of help manage this. So one, medications. Muscle relaxants are going to be a big one. This can be diazepam, baclofen. These are all medications that you can use to reduce muscle stiffness and prevent spasms, right?
Right. For those of you that are listening and watching, whatever, I will try to remove as much background noise as I can, but we're recording this after work, hence why she's in her scrubs. So there is significant amount of noise because,
All right, come on,
have a
guys.
full
You know
house.
us. You know us by now. It's either the dog or the kids. I don't know what to tell you,
Right now it's both.
Yeah.
Because, I got them both here. It's a full house right now, so there's only so much we could do. But anyways, we're
So the medications, right, it's like, so medications like gabapentin, which can also be used for this, can help manage all that, right? So you also have immunomodulators, so immunotherapy. And then what that means, because this is likely to be an autoimmune disease, then we're going to try to maybe use IVIG, which we should probably dedicate a whole entire episode to. IVIG is such a common treatment for a lot of things.
Okay.
And sometimes when you give IVIG, it can help modulate the immune system, right? So all of that's happening. And then that will in turn lead to reduction of your symptoms.
Are those on biologics by any chance?
So it is kind of like a biological. So
Okay.
basically to get like a bag, and she says this too. She asks the number. It's crazy. It's like thousands
Celine
of
Dion,
people.
by the way.
Yeah, Celine Dion. Celine Dion says she asks, I guess, the person, maybe like a pharmaceutical rep or someone that's giving her the IVIG, like how many people did she need for this one bag of IVIG? And it was an astronomical number.
Wow.
Even I didn't know that. Right.
Wow.
So it's basically like a biological. So it's basically an immunoglobulin that you're giving to try and block your immune system from attacking
Itself.
your own. Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Again, physical therapy, which was something that she talks about a lot. I mean, she did so much. She does so much physical therapy.
Yeah,
She was working hard, right?
It's gonna be painful too as hell.
Yeah. Painful and uncomfortable. And imagine doing therapies multiple times a day, multiple times a week, day in, day out.
Yeah.
And also just think about the mind game that is that
Exactly.
know that this is going to be forever. Okay? Forever.
So it's like you have to try to pull yourself out of that mental hole.
You need
as
to
well.
accept it.
Exactly.
Right? You need to go get past that obstacle, right? That wall.
Because it's easy to fall down that rabbit hole in your mind of like, I'm gonna have to live like this forever. and all that.
Exactly.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Exactly.
So a lot of mental fortitude there.
Yes.
Too.
And then lifestyle adjustments. So avoiding the triggers because that's going to cause you to have spasms.
Yeah.
You may have to use assistive devices sometimes, like maybe a cane, a walker, something like that to make sure you're safe.
Of course.
Or other things to just improve your quality of life. So imagine her with all of her triggers.
It's mind-boggling, honestly. Wow. All right. Talking about triggers, what are some known triggers for this? Of course, the first one, as you could imagine, stress and emotional distress. I mean, that's even a trigger for just everyday
Anyone.
people, you know, for anxiety and all these other more common things. So imagine for something like this that's neurologically based. Emotional stress is a significant trigger for muscle spasms in people, in patients with SPS. Stressful situations can exacerbate symptoms and lead to more frequent and severe spasms. Kind of like what we had talked about that, the camera person probably unfortunately experienced seeing her going through it. That's the next one, noise, which for somebody in her profession, there's a lot of noise. So sudden or loud noises can trigger muscle spasms. Everyday sounds such as car horns, alarms, or even loud conversations can provoke a reaction, making it challenging for people with SPS to navigate noisy environments. And then next one, physical touch. Okay, so light physical contact can also set off muscle spasms. And I go, solar. Like, what freaking accent was that?
Muscle.
Muscle. What? I was even like, what was that? Anyway, this sensitivity to touch means that even gentle interactions can cause discomfort and trigger symptoms. And that makes sense because if somebody touches you and you're not expecting it, you kind of go like this, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine like somebody that has this, and then you trigger that, that's going to like make... It's a huge trigger. You're triggering literally that response of like stiffening up. So
Yeah.
Next one, cold temperatures. Makes sense, right? You're like shivering. So it's all like the contraction, right? So then exposure to cold environments can lead to increased muscle stiffness and spasms. Individuals with SPS may need to take extra precautions to stay warm and avoid sudden temperature changes. And then lastly, physical exertion. So certain exercises or physical activities can provoke muscle spasms. It is important for individuals with SPS to engage in physical activity cautiously and under medical supervision. So luckily, like she has the resources, you know, to have somebody on board when she has to do all these things to like help her out. Because I mean, she literally has all those things triggering her for work, you know?
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about that documentary of, so she just started with a foot spasm. Like she was fine, right? And even her medical provider was saying, oh, he's like, have you had any like spasms today? And she's like, no, like everything, you know, no, it's just now is when it's happening. And then he's like, okay, well, then he like starts and he's like, yeah, you're just not really relaxing. And he's like, why don't you lay down? And man, she just started like seizing. Yeah.
Holy, oh my God. Even as a provider, you must have been like, what the heck?
I swear, he was just like, all right, well, she's seizing. Let's go ahead and give you this. And he like calls like for backup, obviously.
Yeah.
But he remained so calm. And I was just, I'd be like, Celine,
oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm dying.
are you seizing?
I would be seizing too alongside her. They're like,
Can someone give the volume? Give me one too.
Exactly. 2. Not enough. Split.
Oh, but
oh my God.
all jokes aside, it was really sad. It was very sad. And he handled it very well. You know, turned it over to the side, put the pillow, like made her as comfortable as possible.
Good. Maybe he's like, if he's on board with her, he's probably like an expert in that field.
Yeah.
So maybe like
No, and he was so great because even after that whole entire episode, she was, because I think she had a recording before that and she had done really well on that recording and she was so happy about it. And then he was like, I think that's what triggered you. And then so she was like, so I had a good recording day.
Yeah.
And this happened.
Because she got so like happy, like it's a good stress.
It's like an emotional trigger, right? So, but she was saying, so what? Now every single time I have some emotional like heightened, then I have to worry about this happening. And he was able to like kind of rewire her thinking. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad not knowing his name, but let me see if I can look it up really quick. He might have been like a therapist. I'm honestly not sure. But anyways,
it could be the therapist or the doctor.
The therapist, the doctor, whoever her medical provider was there with her. I feel really bad not knowing that person's name, but he did a fantastic job. And you can tell that he has a very good connection with her because she was clearly dumbfounded by everything that had just happened, right? Just because she had a good recording session, right?
So and that's devastating because she's like, I can't even be happy.
Yeah. So which kind of brings us into our next topic, the impact of these triggers, right? So it's clearly impacting their daily lives.
Yeah.
It's completely unpredictable. She did not know that was going to happen.
How are you ever even going to think that by being so happy, it's going to trigger something so negative?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So it can also just further that complication in like how to manage this.
Exactly.
Now kind of like our segue into this, how would someone be able to manage these strategies?
Yeah, no, I mean, like clearly how he handled it so well.
Yes.
Also something along those lines.
So
how did he...
Easier said than done, reduce stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
If someone told me to reduce my stress, I'd be like, yeah, shove it up your butt.
Exactly. That's cute.
Yeah. But sometimes I tell myself, I'm like, okay, I need to calm down, you know?
I know. Yeah. And you can only do so much, you know?
Exactly. I can only do so much. And we have to take that step forward, right? Like we need to not get crazy,
do
right?
what's what you're capable and you're able to do. You know, because then you're going to stress that you can't. That you can't handle that. So then, and you can't change that. So then you're stressing about not being able to change that. And it's like a whole vicious cycle.
And I know that everyone is going to like laugh, but it's like, do some yoga, do some meditation.
You're even laughing at yourself.
I know.
You're laughing.
Because, okay, hold on a second, time out. I actually do believe that this would help, okay?
Yeah.
So hold on, like I'm not trying to be funny about this, that it doesn't work, or trying to be
No, I know.
What's the right word? Like patronizing? Is that the right?
Well, preaching. Is it? Like you're preaching to the choir?
No, like how can I, it's like I'm not trying to like be sarcastic about it. You know, like I actually do believe meditation works. I actually do believe yoga is a good exercise, which is going to reduce your stress, right? But it's also like a calmer. It's not like you're gonna go to freaking CrossFit now, right?
Right.
That would throw me into a stiff person crisis.
I was gonna say, like, maybe for some people, it's actually really like relaxing.
Yeah,
because then they like release those endorphins. Like I know some people, like we have a friend that she used to work with. That friend of ours, like she would go ham on these high intensity, like freaking, you know, all these things. I mean, she has like the most perfect body.
Yeah, she's like a goddess.
Yeah, she really is because of that. But she does it to relax.
Awesome.
I know. Hence,
I vegetate.
Exactly.
If someone were to ask me what would my perfect relaxation day be, yeah, exactly. Bed rot. I want to be a cucumber.
Exactly.
I want to be a lechuga. Más fresca que una lechuga. Just for those of you that know Spanish,
you know,
I appreciate you laughing on my stupid
It means
jokes.
I mean the crude.
I want to be fresher than a cucumber, right?
Yeah,
fresher than a piece of lettuce, right? So how do I do that? Just leave me alone.
It's like those TikToks of like when they have like the husband or boyfriend, whatever it is, feeding snacks to the period.
Yeah,
and she's like under the covers, and he's just like, here's a snack, and then she just like grabs it. And I'm like, that is it. Like just leave me under the covers.
Leave me under the covers. Don't bother me.
Just throw me snacks every now and then.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah. I get it. I know, but there are.
How I wonder what that feels like.
Yeah, us with kids, we haven't experienced that in a very long time. We haven't experienced that. There are some people that, you know, they go ham and they feel
great about it.
That's wonderful.
That's great.
I wish, but
I wish.
You know,
yeah.
Anyway,
so noise control, right? I would totally do this. Just wear earplugs the entire time. Can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
Can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
I cannot hear you. I cannot be stressed.
No,
because I cannot physically hear you.
I cannot. I would do that in New York. Honestly, the sound of like the subway. As soon as I was approaching the subway, I would put on my earphones and
just like zone out.
I don't give a crap. I know it's not very safe. I get it.
Yeah.
I was always like looking around me or whatever. I was always like,
yeah.
But still, it was at least one less thing that would.
Okay, but you're not also putting on your headphones at 3:00 in the morning when you're by yourself at the subway, right?
No. It was like in rush hour.
Yeah.
At 5:30.
If something happens to you, there's gonna be a million people there to see it.
Oh my God! It was 5:30 in freaking like Lower Manhattan. Everybody's crawling into the subway, and it looked like a zombie apocalypse in there. And everybody's trying to get into the same freaking cab. Yeah. You know, so you're just throwing elbows, and you don't give a shit, and you don't want to hear somebody telling you to fuck off.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I didn't hear you. Sorry, this is my cab. Bye. You know, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It was a great time. It was a bad time too. But anyway, so.
Another one, minimize physical touch, right? Another trigger, minimizing physical touch.
There you go.
So communicate with the people, like, don't touch me.
Yeah. I would love that.
I just think that this is just good for everyone.
I know, it really is.
Noise cancel, don't touch me.
But yeah, I'm about it. I am about
Yoga, meditation. Shit, that would work for me.
It would work for me too. Don't touch me. Unless I want to be touched, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Who told
Stay
you?
warm. I love this one.
Yeah,
now we're adding a blanket. So, okay, guys, let's paint a picture of that, right?
Yeah,
I'm on a couch, okay? I'm doing some yoga. I'm doing some meditation. I put on some noise canceling headphones, right? No one is going to touch me, right? No physical touch. Right now, add a warm blanket.
Delicious.
Stay warm. Okay, no, but like for real, stay warm. Just in layers and avoid any cold environments. Why? Because we're trying to eliminate that stimuli of like cold temperatures. Yeah. And then exercise cautiously, right? So work with a healthcare provider, right, to develop safe exercise routines that aren't going to overstimulate you.
So for SPS, it would be like a physical therapy and stuff
Yeah.
like that, pretty much. Like just to be careful, to
Yeah.
be extra cautious.
I really want to do that though. I really want to meditate with noise canceling headphones
100%.
on the couch with no one touching me with a warm blanket on top.
100.
I will not accept any other way.
That is a dream for a mom.
Yeah.
Like husbands, boyfriends, significant others, whoever it is, you want to gift a Mother's Day something to a quote unquote mother in your life.
Yeah.
Make that day happen. Take the kids.
You
Whatever
know,
it
it's like
is.
sensory,
Yes.
like
the
kind of
weighted
things.
or the weighted blanket. I was gonna say.
Well, no, the weighted blanket, but there's also the sensory that is very popular for kids with autism,
Like the little cocoon
or the neurodivergent.
Yeah, like and like
The
the little
cocoon.
yeah, the
Exactly.
cocoons. I
want
love
a cocoon.
I would love a cocoon.
I want a cocoon because man,
Yeah.
that helps with the overstimulation of everything.
Absolutely. Hence why it's great for autism. But anyway, so living with SPS. Back to SPS. We're going on a mom tangent here. Right.
I'm off it.
So living with SPS. So it can obviously be challenging, as everything that we talked about, all the triggers, all the things that you have to do on a daily basis, So the progressive nature of it is also a huge challenge that these patients with this have to deal with on a daily basis. So, however, with proper management and support, many people with SPS can maintain a good quality of life. So it's important to work closely with healthcare providers to find the most effective treatment plan, obviously, because everybody's going to have different levels of it, different triggers, all the things. We've kind of like touched upon it, but we wanted to talk about the documentary in case you guys hadn't seen it, whatever. And it's called I Am Celine Dion. Go ahead.
Sorry, should we pause it and make sure it saves?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just trying to. Yeah.
Damn. Anyway, okay. So the documentary we've been talking about this whole entire time, it's called I Am Celine Dion, and it's directed by Irene Taylor, and it offers an intimate look into the life of, Celine Dion as she battles with SPS. You want to talk about it a bit since you watched it? I needed to watch it.
Man, that documentary brought back so many memories.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they would play one of her crazy hits, I was just singing off the top of my lungs. I remember it was like me and Mike, we were just like building stuff at the house. And I just threw it on just because I saw a lot of it like on my feed. And then I said, I kind of want to watch it. I'm interested in watching it. And then I was just glued. I wasn't even paying attention.
Anymore.
Yeah, I wasn't building anymore. I was just
Mike was in
glued to
like,
the TV.
what the fuck, man?
Yeah, for real. I was like, you're on your own. I am fully invested into Celine Dion right now. Okay. So Celine Dion, she was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome in 2022, but in her documentary, she'd been experiencing symptoms for years, 17 years with these symptoms. They just couldn't put a name on it.
Put a finger on it. Yeah.
So SPS is characterized by severe muscle stiffness. Again, that
by painful all those triggers.
The painful spasms, all those triggers, her stress, her noise, the physical touch, everything that she was going through in her life at the time.
I know that the death of her husband caused her like a lot of stress.
Yeah.
That really hit her hard. It was like for a good reason, but
Of course.
it really affected her.
And then these symptoms significantly impacted her daily life, like what we had already been discussing during that whole entire explanation. But it even led to cancellation of her Las Vegas residency. So for those of you that don't know, a lot of famous people take residency. So
Like
they have
Adele right now.
multiple, exactly. They take just multiple shows. They're just scheduled out, multiple shows, usually in really big places. Las Vegas is a really big one. So she had to cancel her whole residency and one of her world tours, the Courage World Tour.
Yeah.
And the documentary is going to kind of shed a little bit of light on how she coped with the actual disease and how what treatments, what she was doing. Sometimes I wonder, I wish I had an interview with her, right?
Yeah, I know.
Only one can wish.
Well, they
sometimes
paid her $2 million to perform in the Olympics.
in the Olympics. Wow, she did great though.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have $2 million.
No, I don't. The penny people.
Yeah. Patreon.
Peasants over here. Philip, we bow down like the Hercules words.
Exactly.
We are not worthy. We are worth. We are not worthy.
God, I fucking love Hades so much. And
I do. From
He's like my
Hercules.
favorite villain.
Yes.
Like I love him.
We are worms.
Help.
We are not worth.
And then they turn into worms. I'm like, God, I love that movie. Anyway, sorry, tangent.
Yeah, tangent. So anyways, but yeah, she talks about like all her medical interventions and stuff like that. But sometimes I feel like I would love to ask her if she did this documentary to raise awareness.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe a part of it.
Yeah.
Or to finally give everyone an explanation.
Might be both. Yeah.
Or both, obviously.
Because there was so always like the stupid tabloids were always like, oh my God, what's wrong with her thing?
Yeah.
She's so this. You know how it is with
like
tabloids.
she's finally giving us answers to our questions that we had for a really long time. And
setting the record straight.
I know. And she felt so guilty about canceling these shows.
I'm sure.
So guilty. So she maybe was kind of using this as, one, I'm going to spread awareness.
Yeah.
Two, I'm going to finally give everyone the explanation that they deserve.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's helped out a lot because there's other people that have SPS or similar neurodegenerative diseases that could kind of relate to everything that she has to do on a daily basis.
Yeah. And we've just been focusing on her disease, right? Her like medical side of things and her career, but she's also a mom.
Exactly.
And, you know,
she has a family.
She has a family. She had like, I don't know how many siblings.
Yeah.
Like she had a crazy amount of siblings.
Yeah. And everybody gets affected by that. It's not just a person. If you're in a close-knit family, everybody's going to feel it.
But yeah, so I think she was trying to raise awareness for the stiff person syndrome. And I think she even like says like in the actual documentary that she hopes in like sharing her story will help others dealing with similar situations or similar conditions have like a better understanding on what's going on or just this rare disorder.
And not feel alone too.
Yeah.
That you're not the only one dealing with something like this on a daily basis. You're not alone. Look at this person that has done all these things and is still doing all these things, and she's behind the scenes. Look at how she's dealing with it. You know, so you're not alone, and that's a big feeling. You know, to not feel alone.
Yeah, very powerful documentary.
Absolutely, and you should definitely watch it. I need to watch it. I haven't watched it because it's summer and my kid needs to go to school already. That's why. So but once that happens, I could actually like maybe carve out and like a minute to watch it because I really want to watch it. You know, I think she did amazing in the Olympics. The fact that she came back and did that for the Olympics is like freaking insane. It's amazing. And I get it. She's French. It's Paris, you know, whatever. So that she's not French. She's Canadian.
She's Canadian.
Like French Canadian.
Quebec.
Yeah. So whatever. But the point is like, the fact that she was able to like, so
Europe and Canada.
I know, I really want to go.
So beautiful.
You've been? Oh, that's right. You went.
Montreal.
Yes. I'm dying to go.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I did not expect it to be as beautiful as
family
it was.
up there. Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
With my same last name. I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Gotta go.
I know. I really want to go. I'm dying to go. Everybody says the same thing. It's Europe, but
it's Europe and Canada.
Yeah. Amazing. Anyway. All right,
guys. Well,
that was it. We really wanted to touch upon that. I know a lot of people had been talking about it between the documentary, the Olympics, Celine Dion, all the things, and we wanted to chime in with it and give an actual, like, you know, explanation on what is this really?
Yeah.
You know, instead of just people like, you know, stiff person syndrome. What is it? You know, so this is what it is, and at least in a lighter tone. I hope.
Yeah,
that we did. You know,
it's just a good topic of discussion.
Absolutely.
Raising awareness means having the conversation more often.
Absolutely. So hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned for the next one. And if you guys have any topics or anything that you guys want us to touch upon, let us know. We're available on all forms of social media. Check us out on Patreon. You would really be helping out the show. And you'd be getting a full other episode every week just for those Patreon subscribers. It's like an episode like this, but on a different topic every week. So check that out, patreon.com/Funny Medicine Podcasts. Again, every form of social media, we're there. Message us, email us at funnymedicine305@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you later. Bye.
Like, comment, review us on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, etc.
Check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Funny Medicine Podcast. Our Gmail is funnymedicine305@gmail.com. And remember, we are not diagnosing you.
Definitely not, just funny stuff.
See you later, guys.